about how Paqueta would never flourish under this manager, but people expect Kudus to flourish. Furthermore, this is West Ham. West Ham got introduced to a bad beat, just like they did with Payet. They can't maintain the vibe. You know, you take her out to Nobu one time, she wants to go on a weekly basis, bro. West Ham can't do that. They ain't got the facilities. So just like when they had Payet, when they had Bad Boy, they flew her out. Guess what? He was only flown out for a year because you haven't got the facilities. So when it talks about Kudus last season, I don't need to hear it. Last season, he didn't want to be at West Ham. He had downed his tools, didn't want to be there. But then I heard you were slowly going on to start gas up Eze, but you failed to actually acknowledge that Eze for the first 6 months of no season was non-existent.
Oh, fact.
So when we're comparing deals and we're looking at players, yes, Kudus has had a patchy time at West Ham. There has been patches, but this is West Ham for a reason. Players don't want to stay at West Ham. They're a building club. They're a stepping stone. So now he's stepping to the bigger club to get the bigger platform. That's where he will perform. So when you talk about will he improve Tottenham, yes, you are right. He's better than everyone we got, but that doesn't mean that isn't the reason why we should get him. We should get him because when you look around the market, there's not many all-star attackers that can do what he does on the ball. There's not many players that can, when you get them the ball, they'll just make magical by themselves. So when you look at some of the other options, Semenyo, for example, he's going to cost 70 million, but he's nowhere near as good as Kudus. And I look at Kudus and I say, from what I've seen at West Ham, that's a good player. But from what I see at Tottenham, getting into those final third areas more often, being next to a structured midfield and structured defense where he doesn't need to pick up the ball from the halfway line and run with it. He picks up the ball in the final third, and that's where we need him, all action in the half spaces. That's where Kudus will flourish. So, yeah, I'm sorry, Mike's. He didn't flourish at your team because he didn't want to be there. You know, if you're ever in a relationship with a girl, you don't want to be with her, your team might not work. That's what happened with Kudus. It didn't work last year. But that's fine, because when he moves on to a new bad beat, it's going to work. Things is, yeah? I don't want to say, yeah, but we know. We know.
Yeah.
So
before I bring Mike's in, this fraud, because you know what I'm saying? Mike's is the biggest op right now. You know what I'm saying? Mike's is my biggest op, my number one pagan right now. You know what I'm saying? AJ sitting there smiling. Don't worry, you're going trophyless again. But let me just, I don't think you guys understand, innit? I'm gonna give you guys an analogy, yeah? Imagine Mumsy promising you the PS5. Yeah, PS5. You're getting that. You're getting that for your birthday. And then your birthday comes round, bro. And you see a PS4. Not even a slim one. The bulky thing. You see a PS4 sat on your TV stand. Are you not going to be pissed off, bro?
Who is that PS5, though?
The PS5 was Everetti Eze.
No,
he's a baller. I don't care. He's a baller.
You're wrong. You think Eze's that much better player than Kudus? They're similar levels. I don't even think Eze's better than Kudus. I think if you look at them player for player, they're very similar, and they're probably giving you a very similar level so far in the Premier League. But there's not like, I wouldn't say Kudus is much better than Eze, and I wouldn't say Eze is much better than Kudus. They're very similar levels, and Mike's will probably tell you that as well. Being a West Ham fan watching him, the thing is with Kudus is, for me, in the final third, he will give you a lot more as to what Eze won't give you. Eze's more of an 8, pick up the ball from deep, be a bit more of an actual midfielder, whereas Eze is more of an actual final third, all-action man. He's a winger, innit? You get him on the wing, he's beating his man. And when I know people have referred to some of the data and the stats. When you look at the data does show that he's the best man at taking on. He's the best dribbler in the Premier League and can take on his man like no other. And let's be real, Jay. How many times this season have we said we just need a man that can take on their man and run down the wing?
I agree with you on that sense. I do agree with you on that sense. But then again, I'm looking at, because again, I've spoken to, me and Max have done bare shows this season, yeah. And the one thing he keeps on telling me is consistency. And Jords, how many times have we sat on streams together and said, our front three is just not consistent? There's no consistency. Now I'm looking at this Kudus signing, bro, and from what I've seen of him, and maybe I don't watch enough, maybe I haven't seen enough of Kudus then. Maybe we can say that. But he's not the performances ain't consistent. I'm seeing one game, bro, the guy looks like Cristiano Ronaldo. He looks like 08 Cristiano Ronaldo, bro. And then the next 10 games, he just goes, he dies, bro. I don't want that in my club, because we have that with Dom Solanke. We have that with Rich. Even Tell, there's moments in games, yeah, where I genuinely don't believe that we got Tell. Like, he actually looks like a tidy footballer. And then the next 5 games, the guy is the guy is doing up invisibility cloak. You can't see him. He's just disappearing, bro. So, Mike, let me bring you in because you're a West Ham fan, yeah? And then I'm going to get to AJ as well. Kudus, bro. Bias aside, what can you tell us about Kudus?
Yeah, I'm not doing this whole 180 thing either about, oh, Kudus is shit. My whole thing is he's not the player that people think he is, in my opinion. Now, what George said earlier about what I said on his streams and stuff under Lopetegui is true. Because I thought Lopetegui was holding all of our big players back, like the Bowens, Pakitars, and Kuduses, etc. But the difference is I see between like a Bowen, for example, and like a Kudus and Pakitar is that, like, even no matter what the manager is, they'll still apply themselves no matter what. Now, there is a part to play on the fact that he doesn't want to be at West Ham anymore. But I don't think it's necessarily all West Ham's fault that he's not doing the basics properly all the time. Him misplacing passes. I think he's a great dribbler as well. I think he's good at running into space. But it's like what he does after he runs into the space is a big problem for me. Like, occasionally you'll get to see like he could strike a ball really, really well. But I don't think he's one of them players where he'll be able to cut in and then consistently put a goal in the back of the net, like put a ball in the back of the net, in my opinion. It's the difference between like an Mbeumo, for example. I think Mbeumo will be a better signing, in my opinion, because he's the guy, in my opinion, that can just run down the line. And even though you know where he's going, you can't stop where he's going. Whereas he doesn't take as many touches as Mohamed Kudus does, in my opinion. Like, Mbeumo just, his instinct, couple touches, down the line, shoot. For me, with Kudus, I think once he doesn't see the opportunity, he doesn't like give himself enough like time to like make the right decision. For example, like if he's going down the line and he's running into space, he doesn't know what to do after it. So if the shooting opportunity isn't on, he will take so many touches and then the play will be stopped instantly. He's too careless with the ball. However, what I actually think he'll be a better signing for Tottenham than he would Chelsea. Only reason why I say that is because Chelsea don't really play as much on the counter. I think Kudus is more of a counter-attacking player than he is a possession-based player, where he's better at running into space. Simple as that. When the team is sitting deep, I don't think he knows what he's